Welcome to a day in the life of a seven-figure real estate broker. My name is Kevin Cahill, and I'm happy to share with you what it looks like and feels like to be a real estate broker with offices in Florida and in Washington. My wife Lisa and I own Realine Real Estate, and we're also the creators of Realty Funnels, one of the most powerful real estate CRMs you could have running your real estate business. And I just want to share with you what it's like to be a real estate broker in this day and age. And I've been a real estate broker since 1999. I began my career as a real estate agent in Cleveland, Ohio. And about 10 years into my career, I moved to Florida to run real estate offices for the largest and fastest growing real estate franchise brand at that time. And then a couple years later, I was hired away by my number one competitor, who was the largest single brokerage in the world. And so I've been an executive with those two companies. And then since, 2013, my wife Lisa and I have owned Realine Real Estate. And it's just been a fantastic thing to be an independent broker, to run my own office, to have agents working in a brokerage. And it's been fantastic. And over the course of a number of years, through our production and the production of the real estate agents in our offices, we generate over $1 million a year in gross commission income. So I want to share with you what it's like to be a real estate agent on a typical day in, day out basis. So one of the first things I do when I wake up in the morning is I start off with some exercise. Lisa and I get up and get out and do about an hour of walking, and we'll stretch and we'll make certain that we're all fit and limber and flexible and feeling good. Because if your body is not working right, it doesn't matter what else is going right in your day. So we start off with a good brisk walk, and what's great about that is we get to strategize and brainstorm together about what we're working on and what we have going on in our business and what's actually happening with our listings and with the buyers that we're working with and with the agents in our brokerage. And we have about a dozen active agents, and we have a number of agents who are less active, but it's pretty nice to have real estate agents working with you because you get to help them and you get to guide their career and help them achieve at an even higher level. And it's really exciting for me to watch brand new agents who just got licensed recently have their first listing, and then it goes under contract, and then they get their first paycheck, and it's more money than they used to make in a few months at their last job. So it's really exciting and very gratifying to be a part of that. And as a real estate broker, that's one of the things you do. If I were to say the top three things I do as a broker, it would be to recruit real estate agents and to train real estate agents and then to retain real estate agents. You want to keep them active, keep them busy, and keep them with you. And if they're having great success, they'll never want to leave you. And then another thing that I typically spend a good amount of my day on is our active inventory. So I will jump into the MLS just like this. So here I am, I'm logged into the multiple listing system, and the one that services Central Florida is called Stellar MLS. And Stellar MLS is actually one of the largest real estate multiple listing systems in the whole country. It covers, I don't want to say most of Florida, but a really large portion of Florida. And it also covers Puerto Rico, which is interesting. I don't speak Spanish, I don't have a Puerto Rican real estate license, but it's the same platform that services both areas. So here I am on the main dashboard of the MLS, and I might just look to see, what's going on with my current office pending listings. And we've got a handful of stuff, that's about to close. And then I might look at what are my active office listings right now, and we've got about a dozen of those, and a couple of them, priced at $1,050,000, 737, 700. And then even some lower end condos priced at $155,000. Here's another one priced at $100,000. That one's land, in fact. So I'll just look to see what's going on with our listings and see how they're performing. And I might check in with some agents if a property's been on the market for a while without a price reduction, we might need to talk with the seller about revisiting the price issue. And honestly, that can take up a lot of my day as a real estate broker, not only with my own clients, but also helping my own agents. Because if a property isn't priced right, it's going to be very difficult to get it sold, especially as we're experiencing a downward shift in the real estate market. And so I do spend a good amount of time every day searching the MLS, not only looking at what's happening in my office and with my agents, but then I would also look at what's going on in my local market area. I want to see what's new in the area. I might take a look at who's visited my portal and who's looking at properties right now. And then I might give them a call, or I might shoot them an email or shoot them a text and say, hey, I noticed you looked at that property this morning at 10:25. What are your thoughts on it? And so it's just a lot of conversations, either with real estate agents or with consumers. And a lot of times I'm answering the phone and putting out fires that real estate agents have with transactions going a little sideways at the last minute. It's interesting stuff. And then another thing that's really important is that you're constantly lead generating. You're constantly looking for people to do business with, either people you already know or people who don't know you yet. And that, I would say, is part of my approach to my real estate database, Realty Funnels, is that I am always working on the people that are already in my Met database, and I'm constantly trying to move people from my unmet world into my Met world. And so I will spend time every day following up with people who are possibly interested in buying or selling. I will follow up with people who have been looking at homes on my portal. I will follow up with people who have expressed an interest in looking at homes. I will follow up with people that I've just recently met. I will follow up with people that I know from my neighborhood. I will follow up with people who are past clients. So following up with people, reaching out and meeting new people, adding those new people into my Realty Funnels database, working my database so that I am cultivating more opportunities, I can guarantee you that I make more money off of my Met database, the people who are inside my Realty Funnels account, people that I keep in touch with, people that I follow up with. I make more money from my database than from all the other sources of business combined. My database is the most important part of my real estate business. In fact, for years I've been teaching a course called Your Business is Your Database. So having a database like Realty Funnels is mission critical to you having a successful business. And as a 7-figure real estate broker, yes, I'm going to spend a lot of time every day trying to find new business, keeping in touch with current business, and reaching out to people who are past business so that I can constantly work to see who do you know who might be interested in buying or selling, but in a really genuine way. Hey, just checking in. Hope you're doing well. You know, it's interesting. It was 5 months ago today that you closed on that home. I hope you guys are loving that new home. And whatever it might be. But in a very genuine way, keeping in touch with people so that when they have a real estate need, they think of me. Now, another thing that I'll do is I'll take a look at, specifically in my market area, which is the St. Petersburg, Florida area, I might be looking at what's new on the market, what's come on lately, what's going under contract, what's the energy in the real estate market. Now, as a managing broker of multiple offices, and we have offices across Florida and also in Washington, we might be dealing with different energies in different market areas. What's happening in Miami and Fort Lauderdale might be different than what's happening here in St. Petersburg or over in Orlando. Different things are going to have impacts in those local market areas. So I want to stay on top of it, keep my finger on the pulse, and know what's going on so that when a consumer asks me, hey, why is this happening? Or what's going on with that? Or what do we need to do to get my home sold? Or how do I make my offer the most acceptable offer for that seller because I want to buy this home? I need to have my finger on the pulse. And so a good amount of my time as a typical day in and day out routine would be just looking in the MLS and seeing what's new on the market. So I could look at active listings, and let's just say I'm going to look in Pinellas County, and currently we have 3,580 active listings in our county alone, and that's all the residential properties. Now, if I wanted to say, how about just condos? Well, that gets down to 1,152 of those properties are actively on the market that are condos. Well, what about single family residences? 2019 on the market right now, which by the way is down a little bit. So we want to see what's going on with the current stuff and what's it taking to get sold and how long is it going to be on the market. And then another thing that I do, and I'm just a student of the game, and I've been a student of the game since 1999, I'm actually going to go out and take a look at some of these properties, especially if they're interesting to me. So I might look to see what's new on the market. So if I look in the homepage of Stellar MLS, I can take a look and see what the new listings are in my market area in the last 7 days. Right here, these bar graphs give me a bit of a sense of what's happening with that energy in the real estate market. 413 new listings in the last week. Oddly, 23 people have had price increases. Now, there's very few reasons why you would increase the price of a listing. 577 have had price decreases. That makes a lot more sense. 100 properties are back on the market, meaning they were under contract, buyer and seller had an agreement, maybe something happened with financing, maybe something happened with the home inspection. 100 properties are back on the market. Now in the last week, 249 properties have sold, which is a great sign. But if you look at this, in the last week, 249 properties have sold, and in the last week, 413 new listings have just come on the market. So that tells me that we're pacing in a slowing way, meaning we have almost twice as many homes on the market in the last week as we've had solds in the last week. 19 properties have expired, meaning the listing agreement ended, properties no longer actively being marketed. And in the last week, 402 properties have gone pending. So it's good, but we'd like to see this sold number be almost the same as the pending number. But the fact that the sold number is lower than the pending number means that the market is slowing down a bit. The fact that there are more new listings, although really almost identically numbered, more new listings than pendings, it's not like it's coming to a grinding halt yet, but we're just mindful that we're seeing some slowdown indicators. And so I'll take a look at that, and I might take a look at these 413 new listings on the market. And really, just being a student of the game is a lot of what I do as a managing broker, and staying on top of what's happening with interest rates, staying on top of what's happening with loan approvals, dealing with issues having to do with home inspections and negotiations for myself and for the agents in my brokerage. That's a lot of what I do. Now, if you're a brand new agent, or if you're a rookie agent, somebody new in the last 2 years, you might already be doing a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. But what I can tell you is that, having talked to thousands of real estate agents over the years, most real estate agents aren't doing a good enough job of keeping their finger on the pulse. They're not going out and previewing enough homes. I'd recommend you look at 5 homes every single day. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it 7 days of the week, but you should be looking at 25 homes just so you can keep your finger on the pulse and you understand what is happening in the real estate market. If you go out and meet with somebody and they're going to ask you about a property that just came on the market and you haven't seen it, you don't look too impressive. And I know that I want to look as impressive as I can when I'm meeting with the people in the neighborhood. If I'm out walking and I run into a neighbor who has a dog and they say, "Hey, did you notice that new property that just came on the market in the neighborhood?" I want to be able to tell them, "Yes, of course I've seen it. What do you think of it yourself?" And just start a conversation. But if I say, "No, I haven't," I haven't seen that one yet. Oh, I've been so busy. They're going to think I'm not that good of a real estate agent if I'm not keeping on top of my local market area. So the things that a real estate agent and a real estate broker do to stay on top of the market overwhelmingly centers around getting out and actually seeing homes. Now, if you're working with a home buyer and you get out and see a few homes with that home buyer, to me, that counts as previewing real estate. You're doing it with somebody in tow. That's even better. But if you're not working with a buyer and you don't get out and see enough homes, you're really falling short of staying on top of the market. And it's really going to come across when you're working with a home seller at a listing appointment. They'll ask you about that home over there and the other one across the street and the one in the backyard. Have you seen all these homes? You want to be able to say, yes, I have. And that's an important part. Previewing real estate is a very important part of what I do as a real estate agent and broker. Now, of course, I do a lot of work with keeping in touch with agents who are considering joining my brokerage. I stay in touch with the agents who are in my brokerage. I already mentioned, recruit, train, and retain. That's the focus of a real estate broker, especially if you're at the 7-figure level. You're going to be doing a lot of that. And then it's a lot of putting out the fires, helping real estate agents, making certain that things go as smoothly as possible for their clients, and that they get to the closing table with as little frustration and as little anxiety as possible. And then as well, I stay on top of what's going on in the news as it relates to real estate. So I will read newsletters like The Real Deal, which is very interesting. I will also read Inman News. And here Inman News is talking about the same article that is being discussed on The Real Deal. Redfin is just having a very hard time of it. And honestly, I'm not surprised. Any of these iBuyer companies, they were just, it was a fool's errand chasing after that wholesale part of the marketplace. There's no money to be made there. The only way you can make money in the iBuyer space is by ripping off consumers. And I'm absolutely opposed to wholesaling, flipping properties. In essence, let me buy a property from the home seller for far less than it's actually worth, turn around and sell it to somebody else for what I actually know it to be worth. To me, that's like stealing. And I just don't think it's any good at all for the industry or for the consumers. And these companies that were chasing after that, they all got bit in the backside, so I'm not surprised. But that's what I'll do. I will read what's going on in the news. And I'll also read the New York Times real estate section. So here, of course, the New York Times is reporting about how Redfin is laying off 13% of its staff. I mean, these companies are burning through millions and millions of dollars a day with this stupid business model that just doesn't work. And I'll look at the Wall Street Journal, their mansion section. And so here you have the Wall Street Journal real estate section. On Friday, they come out with what is called Mansion, which is really cool, all these high-end properties. And it's interesting to see what's happening there. Here's an article about Jeter. And of course, he lived in Tampa for a while, so we would see him at Starbucks. And his home on Davis Island was absolutely beautiful. It subsequently got rented by Tom Brady, the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I just try to stay on top of whatever's happening in the real estate news. Now, I don't watch HGTV and I don't watch, any of those real estate shows on there because to me they're just not at all realistic. I know that staying on top of what's going on in the news is important. I know that staying on top of what is happening in my local market area is mission critical. And then I'm going to focus on staying in touch with my own customers. And I do that by using the tool that I created for myself, but it's available for you as well, Realty Funnels. So here I am inside my Realty Funnels, and I'll just go in here and, reach out to my contacts. And you can see that inside of my contacts, I have about 1,168,898 contacts. I've been a broker for a long time. My database needs to be able to keep up with me. I need it to do what I need it to do. And that's why I built Realty Funnels, so that I could have unlimited contacts. I can text and chat with consumers. I can make phone calls through my Realty Funnels platform. And I can keep in touch with all of my past clients systematically. I can keep in touch with all of my prospective clients systematically. I can automate all of my responses when people visit my websites, and I have multiple websites. And I'm able to craft all my websites through Realty Funnels, because I can do unlimited funnels, unlimited websites, and just all sorts of amazing things that Realty Funnels allows me to do. And I can just keep on top of my calendar and what's going on with things that are on my calendar. So for me, having a database so that I can keep in touch with my prospective clients is mission critical. I learned years and years and years ago, it was back in 2003, a great phrase that has stuck with me ever since, and I'll share it with you right now. My success in real estate is in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think of real estate, they think of me. And the same is true for you as well. If you're going to have success in real estate, it's because you're keeping in touch with a lot of people, systematically, automated. As easy as you can make it happen for yourself, that's how you need it to be. And I'll check on things inside of my Realty Funnels just to make sure everything's seemingly working right. I might want to check on, say, my Google My Business setting, for example. So let me show you that. So here I am inside Google My Business for my company, Realine, and our St. Petersburg location is called Realine Evolve Real Estate. So here I am. What is today? Today is November 9th. I've already had 445 views on my website this month, which is fantastic. Very thankful for that. I get calls, chats, and emails coming through on there. Now, on this interaction, you do not see what you see if you were to click on this on your phone, but on your phone, you would see an interaction with a chat widget, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'll show that to you right now. So here we have our Google My Business listing, a screenshot from my phone that I just took. And you can see that we have this amazingly powerful tool, this chat widget, right here whenever anybody looks up my company on Google. So they're on their phone, they can just start chatting with me right away, they can call me right away, they can visit my website directly from my listing. And then you'll notice too that one of my agents is featured right here as well. So all of our agents benefit when we have these types of tools on Google My Business. And this is one of the things that is really unique and special about Realty Funnels, is that we have this type of power and capability so that our users can have a chat widget built right onto their Google My Business listing. So these are the things that I work on as a real estate agent. Now, I love being in business for myself, and I can keep active on this stuff all day long. But at a certain point, I stop for lunch, probably around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Lisa and I will have lunch together, which is always a treat. And then we'll stop and have dinner around 6 o'clock, and then we might walk in the evening as well and unwind a bit. And then at the end of the day, check my email one more time. Oh, and I'm checking my email all the time. And I always have my phone very within reach. I'm always checking to make sure I'm not missing any texts or any phone calls or phone messages. In my opinion, the worst thing that real estate agents do is they don't answer their phone. And they feel like, I just get spammed all the time. I'm getting all these solicitations all the time. You know what? Small price to pay. Just get off the phone as quickly as you can if somebody's soliciting you. But there are consumers who are trying to reach you. They're trying to ask you about one of your listings. And if you make it go to voicemail, they're not going to wait for you to call them back. They're going to call the next person on Zillow or the next person on Realtor.com or on Homes.com or Trulia or Redfin or wherever else they're looking at real estate. So I'm as good as I can be about answering the phone. And typically the only reason I wouldn't answer the phone is if I'm on the phone. And then I immediately return those phone calls as fast as I can. And that's, to me, really important, and it's one of the most glaring challenges to our industry is that real estate agents don't answer their phone calls, they don't return phone calls promptly, if at all, and they just do a terrible job of following through and following back with prospective home sellers and home buyers. Now, one thing I always bear in mind is that how I show up in one place is how I show up in every place. So the consumer is correct to think if that guy doesn't answer his phone for me, he's probably not going to answer the phone for somebody who's calling about my home. So I'm not going to deal with him. I can't tell you how often I answer the phone and I'm talking to a consumer, and one of the first comments they'll make is, "Oh, how wonderful to actually talk to a real human being. I've been calling a dozen agents this morning about different homes and you're the first one to answer." Well, now they don't have to talk to anybody else. I am absolutely going to grab that business and I'll get them all the information they needed about the other 12 homes, and they're going to be thrilled working with me. So do yourself a favor and answer your phone, return emails, respond to voicemails, get back to people, be as communicative as you can be. All right, so much else that, little tiny things that fill in the cracks that I want to share with you. So just to give you another sense of it, it's important to me that I have fantastic positive energy throughout the day. And I have really my whole life, I've always been an optimistic, positive, upbeat person. But when I got into business for myself as a real estate agent when I was, 26, 27 years old, and I had already bought investment properties before then, but as a full-time real estate agent since 1999, I have made it a point to start my day with an attitude of gratitude. I just start, and Lisa and I do this as we're out walking around. We'll say, "Thank you, Lord, for the beautiful weather. Thank you, Lord, that I am toned and fit and flexible and I've got full range of motion and I can walk and feel great and I feel wonderful. Thank you, Lord, for these opportunities we have with these clients today. Thank you that we've got that new listing under contract. Thank you, Lord, that we have all these good things happening in our business. Thank you, Lord, that I have this beautiful woman to walk around with in the morning. Thank you, Lord, that I have a wonderful business that brings in tons of money every month. Thank you, Lord, and that gives me great freedom and flexibility. Thank you, Lord, that we can travel. Thank you, Lord, that we can move about and have great fun and wonderful experiences." So I start with a positive attitude and an attitude of gratitude first thing in the morning and then throughout the day. And then I also make sure that I'm reading interesting, positive things. Now, you can't see right below me, but underneath my desk is a massive bookcase, and it is full and jammed full of amazing good books. Now, I've got a few right here. So just to give you a sense of what I'm working on right now, just recently read All Marketers Tell Stories by Seth Godin. Unthinking by Harry Beckwith, The Surprising Forces Behind Why We Buy. And you can see that this used to be a library book. The library was having a sale. I bought it for $1. What a bargain. Here's a book called Compelling People, The Hidden Qualities That Make Us Influential. And I'll just give you a quick synopsis of that. The things that make us influential is that we are high in our warmth and high in our strength. People who are overly strong and not warm at all are bullies. People who are overly warm and not strong at all, it's sad, it's pathetic, they're weak. So having a strong and warm approach to dealing with people is going to take you really far. And that was a wonderful book to read. And we just finished a book called Story-Based Selling and the importance of including stories. For example, a story I always like to tell about the importance of previewing real estate is that I was a real estate agent in Cleveland, Ohio many, many years ago. And I made a point of previewing at least 5 homes every day. And I was new to the business, so I needed to really be on top of everything about the business. So I was out looking at all the homes that came on the market in Shaker Heights and Cleveland Heights, Ohio. That's where I lived. And I wanted to be absolutely on top of those 2 market areas. They were right next door to each other, neighboring communities. So one day I'm at a block party, a neighborhood event, and one of my friends introduces me to one of her neighbors, and she says, "Oh, Kevin, I'd like for you to meet Terry and Joan. Terry and Joan, you should meet Kevin. Kevin's one of the top real estate agents here in Shaker Heights." And they're like, "Oh, wow. Hey, did you see that new home on the market on Shaker Boulevard?" And I said, "Well, is it the gray cedar-sided colonial, or is it the red brick Georgian?" And they turned to each other, husband and wife, and said, "Wow, it's the red brick Georgian." And I said, "Yeah, I was just in that home on Tuesday, and it's gorgeous. The kitchen is really incredible, totally updated kitchen. Gorgeous master bedroom suite with a beautiful bathroom and a walk-in closet. It's really incredible." And they said, "We'd love to see that home." And sure enough, I showed them that home the next day, and then they became clients of mine. But that would not have happened had I not previewed homes religiously. And I make a commitment to preview homes still, and it's always served me incredibly well. So getting out and previewing homes, let me just finish with that. It's going to put you in a very positive place. Well, I hope this has been helpful. I'm Kevin Cahill, managing broker of Realine Real Estate in St. Petersburg, Florida, and Seattle, Washington, and co-creator of Realty Funnels, which is the most powerful real estate database you can possibly have to run your real estate business. Oh, and it's super affordable. Visit realtyfunnels.com to learn more. I hope to see you again real soon.